What is time? And how do you have time if you don't take time? I'm Russ Rapp, and this is my YouTube channel about non-duality. So let's talk about the concept of time. Time and space are intertwined, and I think that's really the key when talking about the idea of time and the experience of time, is that time and space are interwoven because they're essentially kind of two sides of the same coin. And so you can't have one without the other. They're not separate, non-duality. But then, the experience of time can change. I think with this whole coronavirus situation, it seems like, this has been going on since, mid-March, and we're now at the end of April, and so that's a month and a half of staying at home. And really this month and a half has seemed more like 4 months. So the perception of it is different than maybe the reality that you're used to having. And I think maybe it's because, and I don't have really a great map of this. I'm sure there's other thinkers out there that have kind of the concept of time, in a certain framework. But I think when there's so much activity going on, but there's not a lot of progress, and it seems like a lot of things happen and nothing really is the result of that, and it makes it seem like it lasts longer. When you're a kid, or even now, if you're my age, you can have those experiences where you're really involved in an activity, whether you're playing outside or you're doing a craft or something that has your full attention, and time can kind of slip away. And what seems just like a few moments can really be like an hour or two that you spent doing this thing. And really it's, attention, I think, plays a big part of it. What you're focused on. If you're focused on the past or the future, that can play a part of it as far as your relationship to this present moment. Obviously this present moment is always the same as it's always been, but maybe your relationship to it, your experience of it is different. And from an objective stance, we quantify time, and I'm not a scientist, but we quantify time based on the cesium atom, the vibrations of the cesium, because that's pretty consistent. And I don't have all the background on that, but so if we're relating our experience of time to an objective vibration of an atom that seems to vibrate at a consistent rate, that we can set our watch to, really that lends itself to the idea of non-duality, where yes, there's in a sense an objective parameter or measurement of time, but it's our experience in relationship to it, because maybe there's some other form of vibration or some other consistent or constant that we can say, hey, this is how we're going to map time, this is how we're going to structure time. And so it's all in relationship to something else. And so when you're talking about non-duality, everything is in relationship to another. So the self and the object are in relationship with one another. So even though they appear to be separate, really the experience of one or the other are dependent on themselves. So I was trying to think of an analogy for that, but really this whole idea of time was kind of crossed my mind today when I was on a walk. And the thing about these non-duality sessions, I don't have a lot of time to really sit and think through what I'm going to say. So a lot of this is just kind of off the cuff thinking. But the whole crux of it is, space and time are related. They're in relationship with one another. Your experience of time is subjective, even though there is an objective sense of time, whether you experience it or not. So if I'm involved in an activity and it seems like 5 minutes went by, but it was actually an hour, whereas my friend sitting next to me was super bored And that same hour seemed like 4 hours. Between our two subjective experiences, it's way different, but the cesium atom vibration is still going at the same rate the whole time, so you can have an objective opinion of that. But at the end of the day, it's in relationship to that which is experiencing it. So in a sense, it is time. I guess it, does it really matter whether it's subjective or objective? For the separate self, I think the subjective experience has more meaning than the objective one, but still the objective definition of time of a certain vibration is still just something that's agreed upon, a conceptual thing in relationship with something else. So yeah, time. What is it? I don't know. But how can you have it if you don't take it? Till next time, peace.